Clay sculpture tells the long history of China and presents people's ordinary life with its unique form. Huangpi clay sculpture can be traced back to the Sui and Tang dynasties. The most renowned craftsmen then were Wang Yu and his son from Wang village of clay, enjoying high reputation for making the 500 arrowheads preserved in Guiyuan Temple. Huangpi clay sculpture steadily developed during the Republican period, with growing fame and more masters. It is said that color painting makes sculpture perfect. In 2011, the technique was listed as an intangible cultural heritage of Hubei province. Nowadays, we hope to see a rebirth and boom of this traditional workmanship and its perseverance of being rooted in the countryside. Chen Youfang is hailed as the intangible cultural heritage or ICH inheritor of clay sculpture of Wuhan, skillful master of craft inheritance of Wuhan, and skill expert of Hubei province. He worked as a clay sculpture artist for over 40 years, excelling in folk clay sculpture. Chen started his career in clay sculpture in 1980, when he accepted his relatives' advice to work at the clay sculpture factory just set up in Huangpi.
公社里面要成立一个泥塑厂，你愿不愿意去啊？哎呀，我听了那个消息以后，我真的很兴奋，是吧？我就说我那肯定要去。
Gradually, Chen came to be hooked on the amazing technique. His first work was to make molds. In the rest of time, he repaired the crafts. The working experience shed light on his deeper understanding of clay sculpture.
当时做模具工呢，就和我们那个厂长啊，我们厂长他做设计嘛，他做设计，然后就在我们那个模具的那个房间里面一起。但是我当时做模具的那个剩余时间呢，我就是帮他修理一下子那个泥塑。他们做那个产品的设计，就是要有个人帮他修光啊。就从那以后呢，我就通过那个耳濡目染的话就是对他更加产生了一些印象。所以说我平时呢没事的时候呢，下班了以后，我也就拿一坨泥巴在自己在私下里面进行偷偷的学，是吧？像这样来走到这条路上来。
Later, Chen went to Shenzhen, working in the craft factory as a designer. As the limit of eyesight requirement and growing age, he came back to Hubei in 2009 and created this workshop. From being a worker to an ICH inheritor, Chen never stopped creating and modifying every clay craft in his hand. As a craftsman, he does his utmost to portray an extensive world. Making clay sculptures is a complex process. The most pivotal part is the selection of raw material. Sticky clay, as Chen and Peng both preferred, is the priority which can be easy to knead after being sieved out the sand and stones from it.
每天的泥巴就是要过滤，过滤了之后沉淀，沉淀了之后拿起来干晒，晒了之后揉，揉的时候要揉的有粘性才能用。
In ancient times, craftsmen added cotton wool to soften the clay. Now with the development of the kiln, craftsmen can pound directly on the wet clay and shape it after it is completely mixed and fired pliably. As for clay shaping, Chen has his unique technique. Burins, a special tool for clay kneading, large or small in types, are suitable for specific needs during the process. Then it is time for drying. Indoor drawing has higher standards. The place Chen chooses must be away from the wind. Besides, the unfired clay sculpture needs to be placed separately and covered with plastic bags to avoid shrinking and splitting. After drying, it can be heated in the kiln. Low heated temperature varies from 800 degrees Celsius to 900 degrees Celsius, depending on kiln conditions. Chen usually remains his kiln at 600 degrees Celsius, lasting for 14 to 15 hours. After firing, the clay sculpture can be colored. Peng chooses to paint it successively, using machines to paint white on the surface and carefully coloring it with brushes. Chen told us that the most important thing for sculpturing was to show the work's lifelikeness and dynamic beauty. Although the traditional procedure of clay sculpture is complex, Chen and other veteran craftsmen still adhere to the traditional technique and held their original aspiration to clay sculpture.
小时候呢，泥人王村给我的感觉就是，比较贫困。在我们小时候呢，我们在这个周边玩，就知道这边是一个贫困村，基本上村里也没有什么年轻人，都是一些老人。但是在我们过来做这个景区开发和这个泥塑文化的一个传承开发之后呢，就有很多年轻人从外面从城里甚至回到了这个泥人王村，我们就是来发扬这样的一个泥塑传承文化。
Wang Lianjie, one of the young who has left the village, now returned to his hometown and is devoted to the construction of scenic spots and the promotion of clay sculpture. He founded Wuhanyu Mountain Ecotourism Development Company Limited, aiming to make clay sculpture better known and injecting momentum into the production and marketing of clay sculpture.
从整个泥塑的一个这个非物质文化遗产的这样的一个发展来说就是我们感觉虽然我们有意识的在把这个泥塑文化往这个市场方面去推广，我们也就是说抱着一种把它传承下去的一种心态，在做一些产业的一个开发，但是我们感觉还是有所不足。因为在整个市场的一个现状来说我们觉得还是需要政府包括一些机构能有更大力的一些支持，支持我们就是保护这个非物质文化遗产这种，包括我们的泥塑传承这一块呢。因为如果有了政府和一些相关机构的或者一些科普教育等相关机构的一些支持呢，我们也相信这个泥塑的传承会更好的发展。
Based on the local culture and centered on the people, Huangpi clay sculpture was born with vitality and positive spirit. As an indispensable part of Chinese traditional culture, Huangpi clay sculpture is worthy of being seen by more people.